see, like, this is amazing. It has crossed my mind multiple times too that I might have to quit my job.
33-year-old Shilo Lee Mcgrath is a mining operator at the Iron Ore Company of Canada in Labrador West, a job she says she loves. But there's one big problem. She's been looking for reliable and steady childcare since 2017.
First, when I went back to work, I think I went through 4 babysitters in like 2 months, maybe even less.
Shilo isn't alone. Currently, families say there are hundreds of children waitlisted at the daycare facilities. Many enlist their children before they are born. For operators, retaining staff in the work town is challenging.
There was times when I didn't have childcare and I couldn't even go to work. You only get so many sick days, you only get so many personal days. I was told physically, like, had a conversation, like a phone call from a supervisor telling me that, like, you need to figure something out or pretty well, like, you're gonna self-terminate yourself.
The strained childcare system is particularly hard for shift workers, finding someone for those early hours and late nights.
Like, I was going to sleep at night wondering if, like, the sitter I even had was even going to show up in the morning so I could even go to work. Like, I've had that situation happen too, where I've been up ready to go to work, kids still asleep, and the sitter just not show up.
It's not uncommon for families to fly in help.
That's coming out of our own pocket as well. It's extra cost.
I hear from a lot of people that childcare is a really big problem here.
Yeah, it is a big problem, and people can't work because they can't find the childcare that they need.
I know for myself, when I moved here from St. John's, the wait list was like 3 years, and it was impossible for me to find daycare here. It was terrible. I actually go with somebody privately because I can't secure any type of daycare here.
Labrador West is very unique in the entire province.
Jordan Brown is the NDP MHA for the hub, made up of Wabush and Labrador City.
They were both purpose-built for iron ore mining, and so they're structured around 2 of the largest mining employers in the province. It is very big money in this community. And nationally, per capita, Labrador West is one of the wealthiest places in the country. Our average household incomes is in the hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Iron ore reserves have fueled a boom that's been bustling since the 1950s, with more than 2,000 people employed at IOC alone.
Labrador West is the province's golden goose during the pandemic. 365 days a year, we have pumped out premium grade iron ore to the world's market, and we were selling it at almost $300 a ton. We are very lucky here, but at the same time, we are ignored. We are just looked at as a cash cow for the province, and our people here have worked tirelessly. At the end of the day, we don't have any of the services.
Brown says Labrador West is struggling. He says he gets daily calls from frustrated families looking for childcare, but points to 2 big barriers: affordable housing and cost of living, a broken system where children are falling through the cracks.
A house in Labrador West right now is averaging $300,000. We have no rental capacity in this region. So if you're going to go work in childcare in Labrador West, you're already at a disadvantage. Our goods and services have a premium on them because you have to deliver them into the subarctic region. There's ECEs in this community that are trained. They're at the top level ECEs, but they're currently working in the mining industry because of a necessity to survive.
There's certainly a challenge in Lab West, and I mean it's primarily driven as a result of the higher wages related to the resource sector. You know, that is creating challenges for sectors such as early learning and childcare and other sectors in terms of attracting and retaining staff. What I can say is we've done a number of things to try and address that.
Childcare services in the region qualify for a 15% rate differential on operating grants, meant to address those competing wages offered at the mines. Province-wide, government has introduced measures to keep and recruit early childhood educators. The Casual Care program allows for more flexible hiring. $25 a day daycare is going down to $15 in the new year, and there's a wage subsidy for qualified qualified educators.
If they were to look at setting up a nonprofit early learning and childcare operation, there is funding there today.
But at the end of the day, they're trying to put Newfoundland-made solutions into a Labrador problem.
Brown is asking government to take a closer look at what he describes as the root of the problem.
The child care program that subsidy is done by the province is based on Newfoundland numbers. And even with the slight mitigations that the minister did put in under a request from myself and the member for Lake Melville to have like a top-up for Labrador workers, it still doesn't bring it up to a livable Labrador West wage. And that's the unique situation up here is a living wage in Labrador is vastly different than a living wage on the island of Newfoundland. Right now, we have an infrastructure deficit. There's nowhere to build houses. Developers don't want to build in this region right now because the cost to build right now is substantially higher. So we need to turn to the government to help us subsidize some infrastructure work in the communities to open up some more plots of land to actually encourage development here and then encourage people to move to Labrador West. We don't have enough people in Labrador West to run Labrador West.
It's like there's really nothing that I haven't seen or gone through.
Want your snack?
For Mcgrath, it's a question of whether or not she can stay. With her current childcare running out at the end of the month, she'll be once more scrambling to find care for 7-year-old Cole and Miles, who's about to turn 2.
Being in the mining industry as a woman is hard enough. Like I know there's single dads out there too that are having the same struggles as well. And like I just feel like we really need our company to step up and like help us put something in place. Like this is our food, like, you know, this is our roof over our head. And like our town is a mining town. And like I'm a single mom. If I didn't work at the company, I wouldn't be able to make it here. Like I've been off now on stress leave because of not having the childcare. I've had to actually take leaves just to be able to have the time off without self-terminating myself. And then you're going to work and you're bringing that stress along with you. And like that's one thing that IOC really prides themselves with is a safe work environment. So if I'm coming to work stressed out and not focusing on my job, to me, that's a safety hazard. I work night shifts, and I load trains. I have to be alert doing that job. Like my full attention has to be on loading that train at night. And if I don't get the proper amount of sleep, like it's not good. It's not good for the company. It's not good for me.
IOC says they recognize the problem and are working steadily to find solutions, saying in this statement, this is an issue that's important to us, impacting our company, all local industries, and their employees. The company is in talks with the province, municipal authorities, Takora, and Champion Iron to find solutions. And like Brown, IOC says doing that will require access to infrastructure, a comprehensive approach.
We actually have to stop thinking that childcare is an individual responsibility and think that it's actually a collective responsibility.
Childcare advocate Gillian Pearson says what's happening in Labrador West requires action from industry and all levels of government. And without intervention, the boomtown is in trouble.
So not only does it have an economic impact, it doesn't allow industries and certain companies to really realize the benefits of a fully accessible workforce. We know that parents cannot go to work unless they have access to childcare. When people can't work, then they are obviously receiving less income. They are spending less money out in the economy. It also impacts the well-being of these parents who are trying to stay in their careers, they're trying to provide for their families. If we are going to allow exploitive industries who are going to benefit from the resources that we have in this province, then they are going to have to get on board. There is no reason why our government can't work with these multi-million and billion-dollar corporations to make them part of our childcare access plan.
And here's the thing. When this region is stifled, it is going to have a disastrous economic effect on this province.
So I just really wish that somebody would step up and put something in place.
All voices say what's happening in Labrador West is complicated, but what's clear is the region's young families, or the backbone of the province's brightest boomtown, need more support in all areas, from housing to childcare to the general cost of living in Labrador. Reporting for The Independent, I'm Leila Beaudoin.